Hi, Libra. Oh boy. Okay, here we go. There is an eclipse on the 10th. I know we had another reading called the eclipse reading. That was the other eclipse. This is a new one. And it's time. You know that thing you've been waiting for your whole life where you were like, something's going to make me not want to want these kid things anymore. There's going to be this moment. It's time. All the stuff you've been holding on to that is not good enough, and you were like, this isn't enough. Whatever you're doing, it's not good enough. It's time to say it, but that doesn't mean that you have to leave or destroy anything that you're in. It just means that you need to say it and not be stubborn when you say it, and approach with love. Of course, there is a chance that a lot will come out, especially right around the eclipse. A lot that was suspected but hidden. And a lot of this may also be financial. So you will have to make a choice on whether or not to be, they're just major arcana, whether or not to be a grown-up now. And by grown-up, I mean having to deal with things that we think as adults we should never have to deal with. I mean like grown-up like the way our parents used to mean it. Like grown-up like you make things work, grown-up. You can either be like that, or you can be like that, or you can not listen and only say what you want and get the result of that, which will be, well, let's see. Astrologically, the result of you not trying to resolve whatever's going on in your emotional life, and if you want to stick to that Four of Pentacles energy, astrologically, it sets you up for a decade of frustration or having to live way beneath where you want to be living. Excuse me. Of course, I'm messing with my hair. Instead, you could be living it up. Does that mean you have to stay in whatever situation you feel doesn't serve you anymore? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if you come from a place of wanting to negotiate, you will get, much further. So, for example, I'm watching a masterclass on negotiation right now. And one of the things that he says is that the assertive voice never works. There's not a single situation in hostage negotiation where an assertive voice is going to work. An assertive voice is not going to work. It's not that you're not allowed to have one. It's not that you shouldn't celebrate that you're like that. But we gotta pick and choose when you wanna be, I would put it like authentic for no reason. Like, yes, be authentic, be yourself always. But you don't have to go out of your way and do something stupid just to prove who you are. There are certain things, principle-wise, that don't have to be constantly defended. You can be cunning and intelligent and take care of yourself and make sure that you are set up the way you want to be set up and still be authentic. You know, this like smash and grab that Libra has a tendency to do, where it's like you're letting all the cats out of all the bags simply on the principle that you're a Libra and you don't need to have any cats in the bag. Well, everybody does, and there are moments to reveal things, and there are steps to doing things, but it really does depend on the motivation. If in 2020 your motivation is, excuse me, If in 2020 your motivation is not staying where you are, if what you want is a real clean break, moving into the future, moving forward, completely new, you can also have this. You can have it, you can have it, you can have it, you can rush towards it. It will be wonderful. You will love it. And you may even meet someone on this journey, to find yourself. You may meet someone that you think will become the next one. 2020 is real different if your priorities aren't in the right place. If what you want isn't good for you, if what you want is to now go be really destructive because you feel somehow ignored or betrayed in some other part of your life, the tone you're setting in January for the entire decade is crazy. And it will set a tone. It will. So you have to decide, King of Swords, Queen of Swords, it's here. Especially if you're 2 air signs. You have to decide now if what you have, what you've built, what you've endured, be it, again, love, career, family, friends, it doesn't matter. Do you cut your losses and get out? Or do you stay, not even to fight for what you have, but because at the moment it's the sound choice? Maybe the wrong choice moving forward, but you're making the choice not based on your need to constantly qualify who you are, but just, that seems like the smart thing to do. These are your choices. And for the life of me, I can't figure out what you're going to do, but of course that shouldn't come as a surprise to you. You can't figure out what you're going to do. Every time the scale tips, the cards go this way and that way. So just know that the restructuring that is happening now, that we have been in one way or another foreshadowing or dreading for about a year, this eclipse on the 10th, presses that button. I love you. Let's look at these cards. Hi Libra. Welcome to the second part of your video. All right. So it really is about picking your battles and picking the timing of the battles. It doesn't make sense to stand still and do nothing and vacillate, which is fine. It's a part of your nature, but it doesn't make sense to do that and then all of a sudden go extreme and want to move and act not based on, see, if the vacillating that was going on, Libra, was a deliberation process, a calibrating of the scale, so to speak, that would make sense. But to drag your feet, not make a decision, go back and forth in your mind, drive yourself crazy, and then not even have that process be worth anything because you don't use it to make up your mind. It's not like in that time you were learning and discerning and keeping track, and then boom, one day you had enough data to crunch and you thought, okay, now I can make a decision. Not at all. The vacillating is purely emotional. There's no fact behind it. There's no tallying up of data on either side, pro or con, nothing like that. It's just vacillate, deflect, deny, vacillate, deflect, deny, and then boom, all of a sudden a point comes that's like, now the universe is like, okay, something's got to give and everything else has already given. Now you got to give. Your reaction to that can be, if you'd like, okay, well, I've had X amount of trials and tribulations and time spent hanging on to something that just hurt me more and more the more I hung on to it. I have a lot of knowledge based on that now. I'm wise when it comes to this thing. You could do that, right? I'm wise when it comes to this situation and let me make a careful, deliberate decision. You could do that. Or You could, like I said before, vacillate, deflect, deny, until the universe presents it to you in a form that cannot be denied, which then kicks in your resourcefulness, we would hope. But it can also be that the tower moment is brought on by someone who is very duplicitous in nature and has been lying to you. Now everything is out in the open, now you're speaking, now they're speaking, now the institution itself is under threat. And in a place in that moment where you could have so much power, if you are able to seize the moment properly, how and what kind of power would you ideally like to have? Would you like to have a short, quick burst of power that gets you out of whatever predicament you're in the moment, or whatever box you've been labeled into by society? Or do you want a more long-term, permanent change, which would require you keeping your head, not giving in to this very triggering time, which comes up in about a week now, and instead thinking all the way through the thing? Instead of leading with the sword, we lead with the mind. And naturally from there, from leading with the mind, Queen of Swords, we come to the Three of Wands. That's a very natural transition, because once we start living from the mind, we begin to see everything much more as an adventure. So in the extended, let's do a little extended preview. Actually, I'll do it in the preview and I'll put it at the end of this video, and that way you know that that's the extended. So Libra, that is your general look at 2020, and specifically at January 2020. There are a bunch of links below, including a link to an instant extended where you buy it and it appears in your inbox. There's also the Vimeo option, which many people like. Remember that you have to log in. And also there are tickets for the Tara Theatre on March 6th in London. I love the space. We've done a satsang there before. We're gonna have a party afterward across the street, which is free. So you are more than welcome to come. You will be able to purchase the rings at the event. Carolina will be there, inshallah, so that should be great. And links to the podcast and the website and everything else, personal readings, are all below. We just crossed 1 million listens already in 2020, so we're doing really well with Revolution Ramblings. We just crossed 20 million views on the channel, and it's looking and feeling fine. God is good. All right. I'll see you in the extended in just a second. Hi Libra, welcome to your extended. I'm going to be drinking water throughout, and I suggest that you pause this and go get some and do the same. All right, so this guy. Let's talk about this guy. Doesn't mean necessarily that you're dating a Sag. It's the archetypal energy, the Sagittarian energy. It's free, it's bold, it's magnetic. It's very easy to fall in love with, and very hard to trust on a fundamental level. It's not like you feel like they're lying to you about small things, although they could be. It's the larger, much deeper things that they could be lying about that they're never going to tell you until the moment where it works to their advantage somehow, and then by then it's too late. Because you should have known, but how could you have known? And then all of a sudden